heart of Yorkshire. But welcome, 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 one and all, to yet another cracking good morning walk. I think we've got a lot to talk about this morning because there's going to be is there a lot to talk about? My word, or there almost certainly is. First things, how on earth indeed did Boris Johnson manage to survive this week? Well, I'll tell you what, in the annals of political history, this week is going to be definitely one for the history books. But yes, good morning, one and all. Can see you all turning up now. Guthoink, ahoy there, ahoy hoy to you. Genti, good morning from Finland. Good morning to you. Oh, here we go. Phil Wise, hi from West Yorkshire. Well, hello from South Yorkshire. Always good to have fellow Yorkshiremen on the channel, in the chat. Pretty bird, greetings to you. But yes, it might be cold, still a bit muddy this morning, but it is nevertheless a fine morning here in South Yorkshire. All well and good for the good morning walk, I'll tell you that. Judas Cantwell, good morning to you. Oh, cows are out. Oh. There you go. But yes, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Susan Nichols, good morning to you. Oop, it's a daisy. Sorry, I'm just going to get over this quagmire. Oh, good morning from Denmark, good morning to you. Sorry I missed your name there. But like I say, at the moment it's a bit, like I say, it's one of these walks where definitely today, if I don't pay attention to the chat, I'm sorry, but I'm trying desperately to keep my feet, especially across there. Feels like walking over an assault course, going through that mud there. But yes, more into a slightly more, I say slightly, it's still pretty muddy, but slightly better field. So, good morning, one and all. And I think you'll agree. Pedals, good morning to you. I think you'll agree this week was definitely an interesting one, to say the least. Very, very interesting. Oh. Gathonic, thank you very much for the donation there. Thank you very much. But yes, what a week this has been. Hang on, I'm just going to have to try and angle here because the sun is just coming up from behind me that way. So yeah, what a week it has been. What a week indeed. Get yourself some hot chocolate, you look cold. Well, it is, as always, a cold morning here in South Yorkshire. Oh. But yes, what a week. What a week. What a week. I had said I'd be very, very surprised if Johnson manages to survive this week. Very, very surprised. And lo and behold, somehow Teflon Johnson has gone and done it. Somehow he's done it. I've said this before, Johnson has survived so many scandals, kerfuffles, you name it. And somehow, oh, there we go. Somehow, Johnson has survived them all. Johnson is not a good politician, but somehow he always manages to find a way. And he did. Will the Tories start crying if he gets removed this week? Well, I'll tell you what, the Tories probably won't mind. But there you go, our first live pony of the day. I know why you're all here, really. Here for these guys. So I give you what you come for. But yeah, this is the big question. And I said it last week as well. You know, how will Johnson survive? You know, this time last week, I was saying his position is completely untenable. Nothing's changed. In fact, it's only made things worse. And yes, you are right there to talk about the May elections being a very, very big issue. But I think a lot of the Conservative Party, as I've also been talking about this week, also has to be shown that Johnson's election magic has gone, that it cannot sustain them any longer. And that is what will finally compel, shall we say, the rest of the Tory party to essentially get rid of him. There was an interesting article this week in I think it was the Times, it might have been the Spectator, it might have even been the Mail, I can't remember now. But there was a guy essentially standing up for Johnson, saying that if any Prime Minister ever deserved, well, any Tory Prime Minister ever deserved to remain as long as they have, apparently, according to him, it should be Boris Johnson, because again, of the massive electoral landslide that he won under, saying that that's the reason why Tony Blair stayed there for so long, because of, again, his win in 1997. So there needs to be, and shown to the Tories, that Johnson is just not worth keeping. And I think we are seeing, day by day, slowly but surely, maybe this resolution is finally coming to dawn upon them. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see how this week goes. Hang on. RG, Yorkshireman in Northern California. Hello everyone in the UK. Can't believe what's going on back home. Can only weep. Yes, imagine being here. Imagine being here. Imagine that. So, yeah, that's the main thing. I think the reason why there has been no action yet. I think that they want to see what the odds are if Johnson stays. And of course, local elections, I think this local election in particular will almost be seen as a, well, referendum on Johnson's premiership. But then again, as I've said before, local elections, especially these type of local elections, have a very, very low turnout. They have in some areas, it is below 30%. And quite frankly, you're lucky, especially even in my hometown, to get even more than that. So if people seriously want to remove Johnson, then it's time to, well, seriously get out there and organise in time for the May elections. But as I said before, these May local elections, we're going to have to see who goes, who stays. The big one, of course, to watch during May will actually be the Northern Ireland Parliament, Stormont. That's going to be very crucial to see how, well, the next few years in Northern Ireland are going to play out. I see a lot of people talking about the Sue Gray report in chat. And you are right, that will probably be a very interesting, to say the least, when that report comes out. A lot of Conservatives, I think, have been using that as their justification at the moment for, shall we say, their inaction. And I think they want to see how bad Partygate really is. And I have seen a lot this week, and I've tried to stay away from it. Sue Gray bashing, because at the end of the day, she's a civil servant, and again, the civil service is meant to be very non-political. I don't think it's right to go after civil servants in that way. We will have to see, and we'll have to see what a report says at the end. This is unfortunately the state of play that we're in today. Well, especially this week, shall we say. But we are still, once again, as always, as we have been for the past, what? What's it been now? Morning. As we have been now for, what, the past 3 weeks. Boris Watch. Boris Watch enters its 4th week. And again, we'll just have to see how this all plays out. This is indeed, I think, now turning to be a, shall we say, long and painful affair. Definitely. It's going to be very, very long and very, very painful. You think the Sue Gray report's going to be as a waste of time like the Mueller report? Well, maybe not so. Maybe not so, because there's a lot of, as I said this week, there's been a lot of Conservative, week 1000. There's been a lot of Conservatives piling on the pressure this week. We've obviously had a defection. If you haven't heard about that, we've had a Conservative MP cross the aisles, to which a lot of the political commentators and watchers have said that's what has somehow managed to save Johnson this week. Obviously, a political defection, shall we say, of that type and caliber, being very, very calculated, definitely by the MP himself. Again, I've said this before, and a lot of people have disagreed, but crossing the aisle in that fashion is a very brave thing to do. And of course, in typical dumb left fashion, because that's the only way to describe them, we've had a lot of lefties go that he shouldn't be allowed on the Labour ventures, that of course the way he's voted, etc, etc. Well, here's the thing, guys, I've said this time and time again, centrism, even though online and in America it's seen as like this bit of a meme, centrism in the UK has always been a thing. It's been a political statement. This is why the Liberal Democrats exist. Are the most centrist party you can have. And every single time we come back to these topics, look at the polls of when the British public are polled on where they stand. And time again, comes back to this. 25% say they're on the right, 25% say they're on the left, and 35% say they're centrists, or that they're in the centre. No right-wing party, no left-wing party will ever win without at least appealing to the centre. And it's been said a lot this week that unless Keir Starmer does appeal to, well, conservative voters, he's never going to win. And they're right. I know that sounds really bad, like, oh my God, Starmer's appealing to conservative voters. But look what Starmer's shadow cabinet have been saying. Wanting a windfall tax on oil and gas companies. Wanting probably the one of the most successful green policies in our time, the decarbonisation of the British steel industry, which will again require a whole lot of government investment to actually be able to achieve. But if you do that, not only will you, again, provide for the future of the British steel industry, a very critical industry to any country, but you will also secure hundreds of thousands of jobs, not only in Wales, but in the north of England as well. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you properly level up. And I've said this multiple times to so many people this week, that sometimes you are going to get politicians you do not 100% agree with. That is just politics. That is how the political game works. It sucks, I know it does, but that's the game we've got to play. And yeah, I don't agree 100% with Keir Starmer on the direction he wants to be, the direction he seems to be pushing in the Labour Party. I do want to see a very much more, socialist policies, left-wing policies put forward by him. But I understand that we cannot win if we do not at least appeal to the centrists in this country. There you go. So that's the situation. And bizarrely this week, I get the awful feeling in my gut. There's going to be a lot of people on the left who know full well that at the next general election, we have to mobilise. We have to seriously mobilise in a very big way to be able to defeat the Tories, and yet they will not, because Keir Starmer just happens to be the guy who is the leader of the party. But I have said this time and time and time again. Look at the local levels of the Labour Party. There are open socialists sitting in town councils, far, far, far more than there ever have been before in history. We have the local mayoral election for South Yorkshire coming up as well in May. And currently we are in the selection stage for Labour to pick that candidate. And two of the candidates have basically declared themselves open socialists. I do not see Owen Jones praising these people. Instead, he would rather go after political purity points by saying that, that Stammer should be the one to leave this week. This is this is how you play politics. And again, a lot of people I know don't like that phrase. But if you want to play the political game, you've got to play it, or else, here's the thing, someone will play it for you. You want a perfect example? Look what happened to Corbyn, right? Two things Corbyn refused to do during his time as Labour leader. First of all, he refused to engage. Yes, you are right. Owen Jones is only happy when Labour are losing. Very true. He refused to engage with, the centrists in the party. Essentially the former Blairites, shall we say. And yes, I'm not excusing, of course, their actions in the fact that, they very much contributed to, of course, Corbyn's defeat. I'm not excusing them for that. They do bear that responsibility. Like I say, why on earth would you be in a party and then say it should lose? Yeah, that, like I say, is a mystery, and don't worry, they do bear responsibility for, again, a lot of the 2019 loss. But that happened because Corbyn refused to essentially refused to play ball with them. And those allegations are, completely, as you've been shown over time, doesn't look like these were true at all. But again, it was very nicely deployed just so they could get rid of Corbyn. And of course, when it came time to vote for the Labour successor, while many people did indeed flood to join the Labour Party to vote for Corbyn, when it came time to vote for his successor, Rebecca Long-Bailey, they didn't turn up for her. They didn't turn up. So, I've said this before so many times. I'm so annoyed at the fact that not only the right wing in this country, but you see it in America, knows that sometimes it's best to, shall we say, just go and jump, get in line and vote for your candidate, because at the end of the day, your side wins. And especially in the game of British politics, where it's literally the winner-take-all system that it is at the moment, when you lose, you lose. There's no excuses about it. And yes, you can obviously look into the reasons why you lost, and again, those reasons are important to understand why you lost. When you lose, you lose. It sucks, but that's the key thing. You lose sometimes. But even when you lose, you do still maintain the right to go on arguing for your position and to advocate for your position and show that your position was the right one. Hence why I still today argue for the case that, rejoining the European Union is the right way and the right thing to do for the UK. So, and the May elections, again, rolling back to the May elections, you see this in, I've talked about this before, the political differences between UK and European politics. Europeans have a far more greater understanding of what is going on in the European Parliament than anyone ever did in the UK. Most people in the UK don't know who their MP is. Generally, they don't know who their MP is. They don't even know who their, local mayor is. They couldn't tell you. Most people in the UK have never ever been to their local council, or at least a local council meeting. And again, that's why on my channel, I am constantly advocating for people to get involved. This is why, again, I said, a couple of years ago that it's right for me to, to get involved. Hence why I joined the Labour Party. Because that's what you have to do. You have to get involved. Politics and democracy is not a once every 4 year game where you go and vote. Happens every single day. Every single day. And if you aren't involved, at least knowing or pushing for change, because as a member of the Labour Party, I can help advocate for policies I want Labour to do, which is why I became a member, because I want more left-wing and socialist policies. That's why I joined it, so that when these policies come up for a vote, I can have a say and push for what I want. But there are many people in the left who decided, well, I'm just going to leave the Labour Party. There we go. Because Keir Starmer's in charge. And that's where we are in an unfortunate state today. I always advocate, go join your local political party. I don't even care if you're on here and you disagree with me and you somehow think that the Conservatives are the party that the UK deserves. If you want to go join your local political party, have at it. I do not mind. I do not mind at all. Because here's the thing, and if well, it would be even more better though if you were a Conservative and you understood, for example, that your party is being hijacked. Your party is being hijacked by essentially the UKIP factions who have essentially pushed your party far, far more right than it normally would be, and you want to reclaim your party. Have at it. Have at it. And being an ideological purist, well, here's the thing. If you were one of the leftists who, again, left the Labour Party and then spends all day on Twitter like complaining about the fact of not having, lefty policies or anything like that. Bear in mind what I've just told you about most local Labour parties are, and especially like local Labour councillors, are pushing more socialist policies than ever. At the next, South Yorkshire mayoral election, we've got the potential of an open Labour socialist running, wanting to create a local transport company that is a co-op. Then yeah, fantastic. If you're a member of the Labour Party in South Yorkshire, vote for Oliver Dowden as your first choice as candidate. That'll be it. I've just seen FSM say that Kia has no policies. Again, they're advocating for the greening of the decarbonisation of the British steel industry. And I know you've been on stream when I've talked about how important that policy is for the UK. He's got the windfall tax on the oil and gas companies that would help hundreds of thousands of people during this time. Oh, there we go. Got to cross that very gracefully. Starmer's got policies slowly but surely. They're starting to drip out, and I'll agree. On the surface, it doesn't look like Starmer has policies. I'll agree with you on that, but there are there. You just have to look for them, which is the annoying thing, because they need to be getting out there. Need to be telling people this is what we need to do. And Starmer, if he plays his cards right, can indeed offer a proper alternative to voting Conservative. Because one of the reasons why, again, Corbyn lost, again, his refusal to engage with the Blairite factions. And again, as I said before, I'm not excusing their actions, what they did either. I think sitting in a party and then being a member of that party while trying to get the party to lose is an incredibly dumb idea. You should always want your party to win, even if you don't 100% agree with the leader. But we have, obviously, Corbyn's biggest mistake by far was not to play the PR game. Because the left, especially during the Blair years, felt that if the PR had damaged Labour's image, that, you know, Tony Blair and, you know, Alistair Campbell was far, far too much of a spin doctor. Unfortunately, as Corbyn's entire tenure of the leadership has certainly proved, you need to play the PR game. If you don't, then you get the 2019 general election. When asked, of course, when people were trying to decide, a lot of people would say that that particular election was about Brexit. And yes, Brexit did have a big part to play in that election. But also, one of the biggest choices that people were asked to make at that election was who would be a better Prime Minister, Boris Johnson or Jeremy Corbyn. And a lot of people felt, because of the media frenzy, because Corbyn did not play the PR game, he got absolutely savaged in that time, again and again and again. And by the time they realised that they had to play that PR game, it was far too late. You had people who had voted Labour all their life believing that, you know, Jeremy Corbyn was like a terrorist sympathiser and that they couldn't bring themselves to vote for him. They thought that Boris Johnson would be a far better Prime Minister. That is what happens when you do not play the PR game. Yes, exactly, Helen. Doesn't matter how good your policies are or how bad they are. If you don't win, you can't put them into place. And as I've said before, in our system at the moment, it's pretty much winner take all. And I've said this before, I do want the system to change. I do want a PR system. And as I said last week, we are now, 325 local Labour parties have now submitted a declaration that they want PR or a change to the voting system of PR on Labour's manifesto. And again, that is only doable when you are a member of your local Labour Party to be able to push for that. So, again, when this, of course, started, they were told that you would never get above 85. It was a ridiculous thing to hope for, to want for. And again, I'd like to remind you, this PR system didn't start, or this vote for it, shall we say, start under Keir Starmer. Started under Corbyn. So there's a lot to, again, as I've said before, there's a lot to unpack about, shall we say, our British way of doing things in politics. But definitely making a change for the House of Commons to PR is definitely on the cards and definitely needs to be done. But as I've said before, we have to be careful because, as I said this week, there has been much a mooted fact this week that Nigel Farage might make a return to politics. Now, he might not run again. That is true. He might not run again, but he might, shall we say, campaign for the Reform Party. And as I've said before, we have to be incredibly careful about the Reform Party because the Reform Party has on their books wanting to reform the House of Lords. And as I've said before, House of Lords reform, when you poll it cross-party, left, right, centre, is very, very popular. And we cannot allow the right to go and essentially dictate that they get to decide what House of Lords reform looks like, because they will do it in their favour. And, you know, I've said this before, I don't know how, obviously, the full system would work. There are far, far better, more people suited for me to explain how that would work, but either way I see it would be changing the House of Lords to a House of regional representatives who are then elected on the regional representation basis. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will be very, very interesting. Because that in itself will be a massive change to British politics. Because let's even say that the reform of the House of Lords goes through, but the House of Commons one doesn't. In any future election, let's say if we should end up like this, but we've got a House of Lords reform to a PR system, the Conservatives would not have full control. Any PR system shows the Conservatives would never ever get more than about, 34%, I think it is. Meaning they would never ever have full control. And by the way, this would actually bizarrely be a good thing. I know that's kind of a strange thing to say. But here's what would happen. The Conservatives would then have to start moderating their policies. They'd have to start this reversal and start to come back to a more centrist position to try and attract more voters. And that would certainly help in, of course, the long run, trying to, de-weed the party, the Conservative Party of the free market fundamentalists that are currently in there running the show. Because, again, a lot of people have said, getting rid of Boris Johnson's a good thing. And I do agree. But, of course, the only problem is the free market fundamentalists in the party would grow even stronger. So, again, as I've said, as much as I want Boris Johnson to go, it is very, very much a be careful what you wish for scenario. Be under no illusion that any successor to Boris Johnson will be better. They're all currently the crop of people who, again, want to run are indeed maybe slightly more competent than Boris, which, again, should be worrying. But, again, we'll have to worry about that when that happens. Of course, the other thing this week that again is now playing out. Yes, the police and crime bill. Yes, you are right. That is now going back to the Commons, Bakura. We'll have to see what happens. Hopefully what will happen now is that the groups that put the pressure onto the House of Lords now have to change tack. They now have to start putting that pressure on, first of all, the opposition parties, because the opposition parties have to vote against it. But it's not just, it's not just them. They have to get a number of Conservative MPs to rebel and vote it down. And ironically, this comes back to other thing I want to talk about, because just very recently, in fact, yesterday even, we've had a senior conservative come out and say that he has been blackmailed. He has been blackmailed by the whips, saying that if he didn't fall into line, his constituency wouldn't get funding. And this was, WAG has gone to the cops today. That's how serious this has become. And if this comes out, by the way, if this comes out that Boris Johnson and the Conservatives have threatened and blackmailed Conservative MPs with funding and promises to essentially get them into line, well, that becomes very interesting. Nope. Morning.
Morning.
Nope. So, what happens under that investigation? But we've also had, again, not just WAG come out and say this, but what's his name now? He crossed the guy who defected very recently has come out and said he was put under pressure and told that his constituency would not get a secondary school built, which it was very much in need of being built, if he did not toe the party line. So this, if anything, is not only good for a PR push, because, again, the whipping system that we have is very, very much part of our politics. And we've talked about this before, how much our MPs get whipped into line on this. You know, a PR system would help reform that and stop that. So this coming out is also a good move and good PR for Partygate. But this relies on MPs coming forward. Wakeford, that's it. Wakeford came out and said and collaborated that as well. So we've got another situation, another very serious political scandal potentially now going to emerge, where it looks like, you know, Tory MPs have been blackmailed into supporting their party. And that will not play well. David Falconer, thank you very much. You just joined late. Well, welcome to the welcome to the Good Morning Walk. But yes, this will not be good. This will also add to the pressure on Johnson to go. But also, this will ask a lot of very serious questions about how our system works, and the idea of, like, chief whips, should they be monitored more, and what they should do. Yes, I know his voting record is very atrocious. I do know and understand that. I get the concerns. But the fact that he is now a Labour Party MP, he will surely expected, shall we say, mend his ways on this. And I would hope that he, shall we say, joins his fellow Labour MPs now in trying to correct that very heinous voting record he has. And obviously we've heard this morning that Watford now is now going to the police and has taken this matter to the police. So this could be Donny, yes, I'm in the US and I'm so used to the government scandals having absolutely no consequences on the government, to the point of watching these UK scandals actually give some effect is hard to believe. Well, again, that's how our system is very much set up. A prime minister is very, very much dependent on their party. If they haven't got their party support, it can be very, very quickly kicked out. Remember, we don't vote for a president like you do. We vote for the political party, and then it is that party who puts their leader in charge, again, of the country. They get to decide that, Boris Johnson is the Prime Minister because he leads the Conservative Party, hence he gets the job. That's how our sort of system our system more works. This is why, and I've said before, there's a couple of very key instances where these scandals are very, very quickly becoming the rub of what could take down Johnson. But you've got to get a look again across the pond of where you are, where Republicans could have at any moment decided to go, okay, Trump, enough is enough. We're going to step in. We're going to step in and stop this. You know, enough is enough. They never chose to. They never decided to step in because they don't really have the trigger systems to get rid of or rein in, prime ministers or presidents like we do over here. So again, it is a very, very different systems. Yeah, the king or queen should have full veto systems. Well, that's the other thing, of course. This is going to be difficult to get across. Let's see if we can get across here. There we go. So, I don't know if you can hear me. I have a lot of wind. So these blackmail scandals, again, if this continues, could also add yet more pressure. This could add a whole lot more pressure. Not only that, but the coronavirus inquiry that is set to happen this summer is also going to look into, indeed the Labour members of the inquiry has said that they should be looking into the VIP lane, the PPE scandals that happened during this time as well, and that these should be looked into as well. So those are going to affect government as well. Rishi Sunak also this week decided to essentially just wipe the slate clean of all that money, just to forgive it, because he says if he does that now, then essentially, even if there is an investigation and it does find that these were again conned and steamed, there's no legal recourse then for a government or a court to come in and say, well, now you have to repay that money. And again, that will look very, very bad on Mr. Sunak. Can't hear me, too much wind, that's what I was fearful of. Hopefully it will die down soon. Like I say, let me know when it's gone and you can hear me a bit more. But I shall persevere and carry on. Because that inquiry itself is also going to lead a lot of trouble to the Conservatives when that comes through. I need a fluffy mic, that's true. Sometimes I can get away with it. I can't. I did have a fluffy mic for my old phone, but for some reason this new one, the new phone that I got doesn't accept it, which is really annoying. So don't worry, I will have a look into getting a replacement. Don't worry. I have thought for actually a while. The next big sort of milestone that I want to do Again, like I say, with your guys' support, I do want to get a gimbal for this camera, or for my phone, and that will hopefully improve the stabilization. Then I won't be like that all the time. Oh, pardon me. Oh, there we go. That's better. And like I say, when I get that gimbal, then hopefully using that, I will be able to get, so say, a better mic. I might try see if I can find like a little fluffy clip-on mic that I can just like clip to my thing here, and then it should just hopefully pick me up. Fingers crossed, because like I say, I've tried. I've been down this route many times before with getting a lapel mic and it not working, or when I plug the mic in, it basically kills all the volume and it doesn't work. It's like, technical difficulties. But for those of you who've been on many good morning walks know the technical struggles I've had, especially in the early days. But like I say, upgrading to this phone definitely did solve a lot of those problems when we did upgrade. The only problem was the microphone, for some reason, never decided that it wanted to work. So maybe I'll have to have another look into that, because like I say, wind obviously being an issue on that. But yes, as always, we are at the end of our good morning walk. So as always, like I say, thank you very much to all those people who, again, have joined us today. The people that have donated Super Chats today, thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much to everyone who, again, does support the channel through either the Patreon page, the Buy Me a Coffee link down below, where you can buy me a coffee, and the you need a headset microphone. True. And of course the YouTube memberships as well. Thank you very much to all those people that are on there. You do have some emojis that you can use if you are a YouTube member, unique ones to me. But yes, thank you very much one and all for joining us today. Like I say, I do hope you join us next week. Thank you as well for more good morning walks. Of course, we've got more videos coming out, because again, this week is going to be desperate to get down to the field, because this week does look like it's going to be a fun one again. Like I say, Partygate and Blackmail, oh my, definitely going to be fun. Definitely going to be fun. Morning. Oh, thank you very much, Helen. Thank you very much there for your support. Thank you very much for the Sheba sticker. So, as always, thank you very much for everyone for joining us today. Like I say, there are links down below where you can help support the channel. Like I say, do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button. It does really help. Licking his lips. So as always, thank you very much for joining us, like I say, on the Good Morning Walk. It is always absolutely appreciated. Like I say, we've got our live stream that we will have on Wednesday, where probably covering yet more craziness and ongoing of the of what's going on this week, because trust me, I think things are just gearing up already to go down. So if you thought last week was fun to watch, wait till you see this week. Things could get very, very interesting. Once again, PMQs could be very interesting questions, and answering people about, the potential blackmail that's been going on, which could be itself even more interesting. And of course, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to stay safe while you're out there. And of course, if you can't be safe, at least be sensible. And of course, we'll see you all next weekend for another Good Morning Walk.